Keep moving on, keep moving on. Life is this way. Keep moving on, keep moving on. Every day. Brother, mind what you do and how you treat your fellow man. If you're like me, you try to live the very best that you can. For if you spread good all around, you'll be able to sleep when the sun goes down. Keep moving on, keep moving on.
Because you're here to move your business forward. BDC's here for what's ahead. BDC, the bank for Canadian entrepreneurs.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here, and I'm just excited to be in a room full of like brilliant women. And I'm also excited to lend my expertise. I'm going to share my slides soon, and I'm going to introduce myself. And really, when I was asked to participate in this workshop and to help lead it, I thought the timing was perfect, especially because a lot of you are entrepreneurs and founders yourself. And we launched the Bay Mills Investment Group. We launched our first fund, the Bay Mills Diversity Fund, at the end of February. And since then, we've had over 4,000 businesses from around the world flood our inbox with amazing, excellent pitches. And as I'm going through these pitches, and soon I'll be onboarding some interns to help me with that, I noticed that, there were a lot of tweaking and a lot of touch-ups that the slides, that the pitch presentations could have had. And I thought, why don't I just share some tips pitching to a VC from the lens of a VC, and hopefully that will be helpful to you. So I'll spend like 15 minutes talking about that, and I have some slides, and then afterwards, we'll open up the floor to Q&A. So pitching to VCs. And again, my name is Melissa Allen. Patricia went through the delightful bio. But I'll talk more about who I am. Like that nice rosy picture that Patricia painted of me, I'll tell you like the story beneath the story or behind the story. So we'll start with that. We'll talk a little bit more about what Bay Mills Investment Group is. Then we'll get into my 5 pieces of advice for pitching VCs. Then I'm just going to go through what my ideal pitch deck would look like slide by slide. Just like a quick list of things that each slide should include. And after that, then, really, I want this to be interactive, a Q&A where we discuss. All right, so who am I? And I like to say that I've had a windy road to VC. I worked for the same company twice. Now, when I sent these slides to the Techstars team, I was actually going to write, I was fired from the same company twice, because I was. But I'm like, you know what, nah, I don't want that in writing. But I was, and like I got laid off twice from the same company. It was a big media company, and like I did great work, but publishing, unfortunately, at the time in the 2000s was experiencing a decline. So they brought me, I helped out, laid me off, and they brought me in again. I helped out, laid me off. Good times. So after that, I transitioned into financial services as a wealth manager. And I have a family member, my mother actually, who was an investment advisor for over 30 years. So she's like, oh, you'd be great at this. Don't worry about that tech stuff. And so I was like, okay, I'll give it a try, because I've always loved finance. And so I joined Desjardins as an investment advisor. I did that for 5.5 years. But I noticed that there were still some gaps in how I can serve my community and serve women. And I also noticed at the same time that, number one, I really miss tech, and number two is that I really wanted to make a bigger impact than I thought I was making. And on top of that, too, was there were a lot of IPOs around 2018 that were starting to happen, or, rumbling of IPOs, like, for example, Uber. And it was a lot of people becoming really wealthy, and they all looked the same, and they were all each other's friends. And I was like, VC, okay, this is where I want to break into. And so as you said in my bio, I did an accelerator program for women who want to get into VC called the Female Funders Angel Academy. I think it's been rebranded to First Capital now. And so then after that, in 2019, I did my first investment into a VC fund as an limited partner and investor. And then from there, I started advising some fintech companies in the portfolio. And by the way, I should say that when I was an investment advisor and investor, completely self-employed, I love entrepreneurship. I like clearly, as I've highlighted, I'm not really a hireable person, and I wasn't then, and I'm definitely not now. It's all about entrepreneurship for me. However, like I didn't really have the tech skills, the coding skills. I can do it, but I'm not good at it. So again, I was like, you know what? I'd love to find a way to transition into venture capital. And I did. I had my big break, if you will, or my opportunity last fall, where I was introduced to the three brothers who founded the Bay Mills Investment Group. Now, Bay Mills Investment Group, it was founded last year, about a year ago, by three brothers, Sheldon the youngest, and then Shamir Anderson and Stefan James, who are actors in Hollywood. Shamir, he just had a film come out on Amazon Prime in Canada and Netflix in the States called Stowaway with Anna Kendrick. Daniel Day-Kim and Toni Collette. It's a really good movie. You should watch it. And so Sheldon, though, he's the business mind of the family, and he's the CEO of the company. We worked side by side, and it's been an incredible experience. And I met them last fall. We were so aligned in the fact that, we see a lot of investment money flowing in, but is it flowing to the people who need it most? Is it flowing equitably to everybody? And based on our research, because there is limited research about funding and diversity in Canada, but based on the research that we did, the answer was no. And so we decided to form the Bay Mills Diversity Fund, which is the first fund of its kind in Canada that aimed at providing Series A capital to diverse founders in Canada. So at least one founder has to be BIPOC. And we are we're going to close our first round of $25 million in a month or so. And we're aiming to, over the next year and a half, raise $100 million. It's been a lot of fun. But you guys know what fundraising is like, I'm sure. All right. So now that you know a little bit about me, let's do a time check here. Great. We'll get into some 5 tips and considerations before pitching. And so for my first tip, which you all are doing right now, is network, network, network. When I was back when I was in tech, I met everybody. Like I was out all the time, going to a lot of different meetup groups and tweet ups back in the day when those were popular. And it's thanks to those connections now that I've had for almost like 10, 15 years. Like they are now my friends and mentors and people who are actually becoming investors today. It's incredible, but understand that while you're building your network, going out and meeting people, offering your services, adding value to their lives as much as they add value to yours, is that it's a long game. I really want you guys to understand that. I didn't start understanding how much of a long game it was until I would say about a few years ago, when I started to realize how much of a positive impact my network has been having on my career and my life and just my well-being. But it takes a long time to cultivate those relationships. But if you're cultivating them out of a place of genuine, I want to learn and contribute, then it's going to be an enjoyable process. And so then my second tip is do your investor research. So a lot of the pitches that have come in, I would say honestly about half of them, we automatically are unable to look at or to proceed with because of they didn't fully read our investment criteria. So for example, on our website, it clearly states we're funding Series A, and there's a lot of companies that emailed us sending us pitch decks for seed funding. And sometimes we get pitch decks from founders who were not BIPOC, and just a little, and some that were founding businesses that weren't tech enabled. They were total bricks and mortar business, which is out of our wheelhouse. And it's unfortunate because you want to really save your time and be efficient and hone in on the VCs and the investors whose thesis and investment criteria aligns with what you're doing. It saves everybody time and it leaves a better taste in the mouth of the VCs. So again, really know your target. And, master your elevator pitch. And you should be able to say what your business does in one succinct sentence, right? And if it doesn't, that either means that you just need to polish your elevator pitch, or, you have to really dive deeper into the essence of what your business does, define it better. Because, the more concise and targeted your business is, the simpler your elevator pitch or your one sentence description of your company should be. And then it's a two-way street. So I'll get into that in a further slide, but remember that when you're going out looking for investment, you women are going to learn this a lot, is that quite frankly, that even if you do meet an investor that aligns with you in terms of investment criteria and thesis, they might not be the best fit for you. And another important one is have a pitch deck and keep it at 10 slides max, and we'll go into that later. Now I'll dive deep into these tips. So as I said before, network and become part of the ecosystem. Again, you're attending events like this, you're participating, you're commenting, in chat, etc. And, I know that it's not as easy as it used to be over a year ago because there's no in-person events, but that is okay. I think we've adapted quite well, and I've actually met some people who are amazing investors and founders during events like this. And also, like, between you 54 women and myself, remember that it's a small ecosystem here in Canada. It's a very small network. Everybody knows everybody. So always put your best foot forward, even if you have to grin and bear it sometimes, because you'll run into the same people over and over again. All right, so like I said before, do your research on investors. Like, what are they looking for? What types of businesses they invest in? They should, if it's a VC, for example, they should have a website or LinkedIn page where it specifically says what their investment criteria is. And a lot of times, too, right on the website, they'll have like a survey for you to fill out that will pre-screen you. So really, like, look at what your needs are and in terms of round of funding and the amount and what your business does, and make sure it aligns with the VC firm. And the same thing with angels too. And feel free to send LinkedIn messages to angels or angel groups, or send them emails, because they don't have a website, then you wouldn't know what they're looking for. So you can just send them, you can either send them your deck with an introduction paragraph, or you can say, what is your investment thesis or investment criteria? And when they respond to you, then you can launch into your pitch. So again, I said, master your elevator pitch. Like, can you articulate what your business does in one succinct sentence? If you can't, double down and really define what your business does and the true essence of it in order to get that clear sentence. And then remember, it's a two-way street. I say this to people who are looking for 9-to-5 jobs as well, or any career situation, is that you're doing the interviewing just as much as they're interviewing you. And you're vetting the VCs and doing your due diligence on the VCs just as much as they're doing the due diligence and vetting your company, you and your company. And I can tell you how many founders that have made it to Series A and have not asked their seed round at VCs to participate in the Series A, because they took the money and then they realized like there just wasn't a values alignment, or there wasn't a work style that was compatible with how the startup worked. So really do your due diligence. Ask around other portfolio companies how this company operates. Like, what are they like to work with? Because if you take investment money from an angel or a seed, this is the beginning of quite possibly like a 10-year relationship, unless you have an exit early. And so you want to make, and that's like about the length of the average marriage these days. So you really want to make sure that there's a lot of compatibility. And keep your pitch deck concise, 10 slides minimum. There's so many great resources out there. I literally pulled this word for word from Y Combinator. And so I'll just go through and it should be 10 slides. Here's 9 of the slides. I'm just going to go through them. So, of course, your first slide is going to have your company name, logo, and maybe a nice little slogan or one-liner about what you do. Next slide is, what is the problem? What is going on? So for me as a VC firm, which I consider a startup in a way, is that the problem is that as diverse as a country as Canada is, funding wasn't getting to the right people. And this was really holding back our tech and innovation economy. Solution, how do you solve the problem that you just outlined? So in my case, or in Bay Mill's case, we're raising a fund and an outreach campaign to reach these diverse founders, right? Traction. Do you have PMF, product market fit, as demonstrated by your numbers? So, you can like look at the key metrics or important metrics like growth, path to revenue, adoption rate. There's many different metrics you can use to measure your product market fit, that your success, that your target customers are successfully adopting and enjoying and coming back to use your product more. And in the market, is there a large enough total achievable market today or in the future? So total available market, either way, it means like what is the universe or how big is the entire market you're addressing, because you want to be able to capture a piece of it. And then your competition, who are your competitors, and what is your X factor, your unfair advantage? Your vision, so like what is your path to growth in your mind? And then your team. Team is really important. VCs really look at team, especially in the early stages, when we don't know for sure what the product market fit is going to look like. And so explain why you're the right people to do this and what your experience is and what your area of expertise, your zone of genius is. And then the slide, which many people leave out, is how much you're asking and what are the funds going to be used for? Is it going to be used to build a new technology? Is it going to be used to make a key hire? Is it going to be used to launch in a new market? That really goes a long way to understanding if the VC really understands your business and your business needs and if there's a fit. So that was quick, and I'm happy to talk about it offline. Here are my socials. So you can reach me directly on Instagram at Mel Talks Money. Twitter, I'm Money Talks Mel, because somebody has Mel Talks Money for some reason. I'm on LinkedIn. Just look up Melissa Allen Bay Mills. And that is everything in a nutshell. I just wanted to say some pointers about pitching VC firms and angel investors. And I'm very happy to answer questions right now. So I'll just take a look at the chat and I'll stop sharing the slides. Actually, there we go. All right, let's look at the chat. Oh, yeah, man. Thank you. Yes, 10 slides maximum. Thanks, Delphine. 10 slides maximum. We want to keep it nice and concise to the point, because on average, a VC will go through between 300 and 1,000 decks a year. And in our case, at our firm, it's going to be 4,000. So yeah, we want to keep it brief. All right. Any more questions? Any questions in French? I can answer them in French. Don't worry, Delphine. Any questions at all? Because otherwise, I can.
We just wanted to double check. So you said that it's important to keep a presentation concise. That would mean 10 slides. Was that, so the 10 slides was more a maximum, or like at least 10 slides? What was your advice?
Yeah, so I would keep it to 10 slides and go on, like there's some great resources to tell you what each slide should contain. Okay. And like, so Y Combinator, like literally I can go back to my presentation. Y Combinator, they have an excellent section on their website for creating and crafting your pitch deck, your actual pitch presentation, like how you present it and how you follow up a verb, like in written form through a memo or an email. But definitely maximum 10 slides. Maximum. I mean, maximum. I mean, nobody's going to freak out if it's 12 slides, but really try to keep it to 10. Okay, and the acronym, I know there's so many acronyms in startup and VC world. TAM is total available market. I know the A can mean there's another A word, but it means the same thing, total available market. And think about it this way. I'll give you a really quick example, and then I'll get to you, Mylène, I'll get to your question after. So let's think, a total available market. So say, for example, I'm looking out the window right now. I'm looking at these houses in Toronto. So say you are a contractor who renovates houses. Your total available market are all the houses that exist in the world, right? And I can even say if you're a contractor who's building an app to send out contracting services, like in the entire world, your total available market is all the housing stock and apartments that exist that can make up your customer base, right? And so the bigger the TAM, a lot of VCs like to see is that the addressable, that's the other way of saying it, total available market, total addressable market, the same thing. So it's all of the stock that's out there. And Angela says you need to put a figure on it. It helps. Yeah, some kind of number to illustrate how big it is, because you want to capture a piece of that. Like, and the piece that you want to capture is called the SAM, the serviceable available market, which is meaning the amount that you're actually able to grab. So if the total addressable or total available market for me as a contractor who's building an app for contracting is all of the housing stock like in the world, then the serviceable available market would be, for me, because I'm limited by geographic region for now, would be all of the housing stock in the GTA, for example. Exactly. Thanks, Janine. Okay, yes, you know what? You want me to type the link to the pitch deck in this chat? I will do that. Okay, and so how to make a minimum viable product for a service business. I've actually coached my friend on doing this. Honestly, it's putting together a service package and then going out there and seeing if you can actually get at least one client to use it, right? And so it's like a service of like a package of services that you offer. Like, so for example, a digital marketing service. Yeah. So try putting together different packages, right? So for example, for digital marketing services, like say, for example, you're really good at paid search. And so your product then as a service would be what specific services you offer. So you can say, for example, you can go knock on doors and say, hi, I have this special or this promo or this pay-per-click advertising package that includes all the keyword research, all of the design, and all of the reporting and measurement. And I'm putting together one package and it's only this price, like for this entire suite of services. That would be an example of a minimum viable product. And then you can go out there and see if customers will actually buy it, they actually like it. And how could you find angel groups that are interested in diversity? I know that's a great question. And that's why we're trying to build out our not-for-profit, which is the Bay Mills Diversity Hub, to actually link diverse founders with investors. But the good news is though, right now is that there's a lot of angel groups out there that are starting to look at diversity. And I would say look at NACO, and I'm like, I can't tell you what the actual acronym means, but it's like the National Angel Canada organization, something like that. But it's called NACO, and they have a list of all the angel groups in Canada on their website. And on top of that too, they're super, super, super helpful to new entrepreneurs. So start there, or email me. All right. If you're currently in an accelerator, do you have to join the VCs of the business incubator? Those terms should be written out from the very beginning when you join the accelerator. So if you're in an accelerator where they say, look and say as if one of the requirements for joining is that either you move on to funding if you qualify, or they take an ownership percentage of your company. All of that should have been communicated up front. So double check that, because if it hasn't been communicated, that means no, you're free to do whatever you want after you complete the program.
So Melissa, we'll just take one last question.
Okay.
And we went over time, and we're very much appreciative. We don't want to take too much of yours as well. It's mostly that we want to be mindful of yours, because we appreciate what you're doing so far.
It's such a pleasure.
And we'll have, and I think everyone's very excited about VC actually, and wants to know more. And you're so generous by sharing all the ways that we can communicate with you and reach out for additional questions. Maybe there's one question that I saw from Milan, and maybe that could be the closing remark, where she asked if you would recommend just a way of building confidence when pitching to investors, especially when you're still, her case, she's still in school. Yeah.
That is such a good, great. Somebody put all these amazing links here already. Woohoo, thanks. But I know this because because back in January and February, I had to pitch some of the most wealthy people in Canada to invest in our fund. And I'd say about the first 5 pitches I've had, my voice was shaking. I was like sweating. I was nervous. But after that, now it's so easy. I'm so confident in my project. I'm so confident in what I have to say. I'm so passionate about what I'm bringing to the table that will change Canada and change the world, that like I'm no longer nervous. And really what it comes right down to is repetition. Like I've pitched so many people over and over again that it's nothing to me anymore. And also, you know, as you're talking to people and as you're pitching to people, you really start to refine your messaging and really get your points across clear, like more and more clear. Like with each pitch you do, you just get more and more confident. I promise, every time. So that's why you really just have to go out there and keep pitching. Eventually you will become confident, especially if you're passionate about what you do and what your product or service is.
Practice makes perfect.
It really does. That's the only way. There's no other way around it. Oh, and also the first few times, feel free to ask for feedback as well. I mean, I had feedback from like a lawyer who said I waved my hands too much and I looked off to the side too much. And I was like, okay, thank you.
Wonderful.
And so now I'm really cognizant of that now.
And ask feedback. Great, Melissa. So everybody just share the love and say thank you to Melissa. I've already shared her slide into Discord. She shared all her contacts. If you have additional question, you'll be able to reach out to her and ask more question about BC, which seems to be a topic of interest for everybody. So thank you, Melissa. We appreciate you coming here.
Oh my gosh, you're welcome. This was a pleasure. And please hit me up on LinkedIn and Instagram, Mel Talks Money, or Twitter, Money Talks Mel. And we can talk more if you need more guidance or help or resources. I'm here.
Thank you, Melissa.